Feeling overwhelmed by the challenges of being a single parent? You are not alone. Welcome to Single Parent Reset, the podcast that helps you navigate the ups and downs of single parenthood and find the balance that you deserve. Whether you're a single parent, co-parent or solo parent, this is the show for you. I'm Orla and I'm a life coach for single parents and a single parent myself. I know how hard it can be, but I believe every single parent has the strength to create a life that they are proud of. For more information about me and the work that I do, please visit my website solascoaching.com. That is SOLAS coaching.com. In each episode of this podcast, we'll be shining a light on the unique struggles single parents face and cover the aspects of being a single parent that are often overlooked and left unspoken. I'll be sharing actionable steps to help you overcome these challenges and find more calm and fulfillment in your life. Single Parent Reset is your weekly opportunity to gain a fresh perspective, take back control, and feel more in charge of your journey. In today's episode, we're exploring how overwhelm can leave us feeling stuck, even when we've a long list of things to do. It's that frustrating experience of having the time but not being able to start because everything feels too much. If this sounds like you, keep listening. We're going to talk about how to recognise the signs of overwhelm and, more importantly, strategies to actually manage it so that you can make real progress even when it feels like you're drowning in tasks to do. Being a single parent comes with its own unique set of challenges. It's often about balancing everything on your own while navigating emotions and responsibilities that can pile up quickly. There's things like managing your finances on a single income, looking after your household responsibilities. Maybe you're dealing with co-parenting problems. Also, helping your children with the logistical things like homework and coordinating getting them to and from all the various clubs and play dates. And all this can leave you with hardly any free time or even time alone to even spend by yourself looking after yourself. And then this can knock on to you having feelings of overwhelm. And it's a common experience for single parents. It's that feeling of having too much to do and not enough time, and too little energy to tackle it all. At times, it's all too easy to get stuck in a cycle of stress. But the good news is, by recognising the signs of overwhelm, you can start taking small but impactful steps to manage it. And that is exactly what we're going to look at today. Recently, I had a call with a client one Monday afternoon. When I asked the client how their weekend was, she said she could not be more annoyed with herself about how her weekend had gone. And when I asked her why, she went on to explain. Her kids were at their dad's that weekend and she had planned to have a productive weekend getting some serious life admin done. She said she was looking forward to a whole free weekend to start ticking things off her list. On Friday, she decided that she was going to make a start on decluttering her kids' toy boxes, but instead she found that she got distracted looking at storage solutions online and in the end buying none. And on the Saturday, the plan was to sort out bills and look at changing energy providers to save some money. When suddenly, she looked around and it was 3 o'clock and all she'd done was take the dog for a walk and scroll on Instagram. And then at that point she thought, well, there's no point getting started on anything now. Sunday rolls round and she had grand plans that she was going to batch cook all day long and fill up the freezer full of foods. But similar to the other days, she busied herself scrolling on her phone, watching some TV and having catch-up calls with her friends. And now here we were on Monday afternoon and her free weekend that was supposed to be a productive one had ended up being completely wasted. Toy box was still overflowing, bills still needed to be sorted, and as for dinner, well, it was going to be frozen pizza for dinner that night. But the most frustrating part was that she felt even more overwhelmed now than she did when she went into the weekend. She'd already been feeling swamped by everything going on in her life, and it seemed like the weekend was supposed to help her catch up and only added to her stress. I've seen this so many times with clients, feeling overwhelmed and desperate to get stuff done. When they finally get a break, only to find that they don't have any energy or know where to start. This leads to even more frustration and a sense of wasted time. Does this sound familiar to you? Maybe you find that when you get some rare time to yourself, you can't seem to make any progress on what you wanted to do. You're not alone here. Like my client, you may be ignoring the signs of overwhelm, and it is crucial to stop and look at what's driving the overwhelm and tackle it head on. And then when you do get that precious time to yourself, you can make sure you're using it in a way that feels productive and fulfilling instead of leaving you with feelings of regret. So, let's dive into how we can go about doing that. First of all, I want to talk about learning how you react to overwhelm. Overwhelm often triggers different reactions for different people, and recognizing what your passions are can help you manage them better. So, let me talk through some of the common reactions related to overwhelm. So, one of the ways it can show up is where you feel paralyzed and you're unable to start anything or make any decisions, and this only builds up more pressure. Or maybe for you, you try and ignore or avoid your responsibilities altogether, and you distract yourself with anything that takes your mind off the task at hand. Or a third way it can show up is where you multitask or overwork. So you try and tackle everything at once, spreading yourself thin, which leaves you feeling absolutely exhausted and completely unproductive. So which one are you? Are you someone who completely gets paralyzed and does nothing? Or do you avoid it altogether and work on other things that are not relevant? Or perhaps are you the one who busies yourself multitasking, starting everything, finishing nothing, and feeling exhausted at the end? Whatever your response to overwhelm, it usually brings up feelings of guilt, stress, or even anxiety. And understanding these patterns is the first step in regaining control. Now that you've got more of an understanding of what your pattern might be when it comes to overwhelm, now let's start looking at recognizing what the signs related to overwhelm can also be. So what's actually happening? Overwhelm can show up in both physical and emotional ways, often without us realizing it until it's too late. So you might feel a constant sense of stress or frustration, or perhaps this weighty feeling of being stuck, where even small tasks just seem impossible to begin. You could even experience tightness in your chest, headaches, or shallow breathing, and your mind might race with an endless to-do list. What you want to do is start recognizing these early signs because this is crucial. They act as warning signals that it's time to pause, take a step back, and address the overwhelm before it takes over completely. When you identify these signs early, it means you can create space to manage them and preventing them from spiraling into a deeper sense of burnout or frustration. So now you're clear on how you might react to overwhelm and what the signs of overwhelm might be for you. A really big part of managing overwhelm is actually to do with your mindset and shifting your mindset. So instead of feeling defeated by everything you cannot control, which is a very big contributing factor to overwhelm, is looking at things you cannot control, what you want to do is focus on what you can manage. Remember, it's okay to not have everything figured out all the time. Overwhelm is often worsened by our inner critic. So try practicing being kind to yourself. You're doing your best and that's enough. Really keep on top of your mindset and watch when you find that you're being negative to yourself and allow kinder, more self-compassionate thoughts to come in. And aside from your mindset, there are some real practical things that you can do to start bringing a more balanced approach to your overwhelm. So let me talk through some of them now. First of all, you can start to prioritise. Start by identifying what needs your attention first. Break things down into smaller, manageable tasks to avoid feeling daunted by the larger picture. Sometimes you'll find there's things that you're worried about that are whirling through your head that are not essential. They don't need to be done now. So start looking at what's on your to-do list and prioritise it and focus on what really needs to be done, and everything else, worry about that when you need to worry about it. Next thing is you can start to plan ahead. Whether it's meal planning or creating a family schedule, start to have a plan in place so you can reduce this decision fatigue that might come with your week to week and create more mental space for you. This is a great idea to start doing as a habit on either a Sunday evening or even a Monday evening. If Sunday you're still enjoying time with your kids, look at the week ahead. What can you do to make it easier for yourself? Where can you plan? Giving yourself just that 15 minutes a week to plan ahead can really minimize that overwhelming stress that can come later in the week when things seem to come out of nowhere, but in fact, you did actually know about them, but you didn't give yourself the time to plan. The next one, which is a tricky one for many single parents, and that is delegating. Do not hesitate to ask for help. Connect with other parents, family members, or friends who can lend a hand. Share your responsibilities, and this will ease your loads. I know it can be tricky asking for help, but look at what your day-to-day realities are and look at where do you need help and where can you ask for help, and ask for it. You are not a burden. People will want to help you. And another practical thing you can do is looking at your boundaries. It is so important you're setting limits. It's perfectly fine to say no when something doesn't align with your priorities. Be firm and be fair. It is okay to say no. You do not need to say yes to everything. Get very clear with your boundaries and start to practice using them. So they're the kind of practical strategies that you can do for overwhelm. So it's prioritizing things, planning ahead, delegating, getting clear boundaries in place. Next thing I want to look at is looking at you and looking after you. So what can you do to look after you to start mitigating the risk of overwhelm? The first one, no surprise, is self-care. I cannot say it enough. Self-care is not a luxury. It's so too easy to neglect your own needs when you're feeling overwhelmed. But taking care of yourself ensures that you've got the energy to handle the demands of parenting alone. Make sure that you are prioritizing time for yourself and yourself alone throughout the week, no matter how small it is. Make sure you're getting it, even if it's just 5 minutes of breathing in the morning. Make sure you are getting that. And the next thing you can do for you and you alone, which I've already touched on talking about your mindset, but it is being kind to yourself. Practice self-compassion. It is so important to remember that you are doing your best. Overwhelm is just a part of life these days, and you don't have to be perfect. Be gentle with yourself and accept that sometimes things are just not going to go according to plan, and that is okay. Speaking of things not going to according to plan, what you can also look at is lowering your standards. You may want to reevaluate your standards and let go of unrealistic expectations you have for yourself. Start to accept that good enough is often more than enough, and allow yourself the grace not to be perfect all the time. And another nice thing that you can do just for you to really help with overwhelm is celebrating small wins. Each small win is a forward step in progress. Make sure you're celebrating those little victories and you're seeing that all the good you are doing throughout the day. Whether it's making a list or crossing one task off a list, this will help build momentum, which can make a huge difference in tackling overwhelm altogether. Being a single parent comes with a never-ending to-do list, and it's so easy to feel like you're drowning in responsibilities. But recognizing and tackling overwhelm isn't just about getting more done. It's about reclaiming your time, energy, and peace of mind. By understanding your triggers and using simple strategies like prioritizing, setting boundaries, and giving yourself some grace, you can shift from feeling stuck to feeling more in control. You totally deserve balance, not burnout. Small steps matter. And even on the toughest of days, I promise you, you are doing more than enough. Which of these strategies shared today are you going to try to start feeling less overwhelmed and more balanced in your day-to-day? I would love to know what works for you. Please feel free to send me a message and let me know. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Single Parent Reset. You have taken 15 minutes out of your day to do something for you, and that alone is a step in the right direction towards living a life you deserve. In next week's episode, we're going to be talking all about the role of acceptance in the journey of a single parent and how understanding what acceptance really means and how it can impact your well-being is an important part of being a single parent. If you're interested in working with me one-to-one, please go to my website, solacecoaching.com, for further details. And don't forget to follow my Instagram page @solacecoaching for more insightful content on living a life to be proud of as a single parent. As always, if you find this episode useful, please share with your friends and family. Remember, many single parents may seem like they have it all together, but this could be exactly what they need to help them move forward today.